Yes, this is very much still the Modern Survivalist talking about survival and preparedness, and this is kind of like the main topic as of why we're going extinct as a species. Yes, it's not even debatable at this point, but this is one of the main reasons. People just are not having enough kids. People are not forming families, not having children, way too expensive, way too inconvenient, way too, in many cases, politically incorrect. Before I go on, if you want to learn more about survival and preparedness, to be ready for the times in which we're living in and the more complicated ones ahead, you should get street survival skills as well as surviving the economic collapse based on my experience going through just that. Now, what is it I'm talking about here? Well, what I just said. It is why we're going extinct. And yes, we are. When your population cannot be sustained, which at this very moment cannot globally, it's only a couple of African countries that have more than enough of a replacement rate. For the rest of the world, and I'm talking Europe, United States, Canada, all of Central and South America, Asia for sure, Russia, one of the worst countries in the world, no one is even close to the replacement rate of 2.1 kids per woman. Women are the only ones that can give birth to children, not men. And if they don't have at the very least 2.1 kids in average, we're all kind of screwed. Well, not kind of. We're very much, by definition, done. A big part of that is this, relationships. People don't know how to relate with one another. They don't want to form families. They don't want to have children. Crazy lady, and you want the perfect guy that even still it's not going to be enough for you because of your insane, unrealistic expectations based on all of the crap you've been seeing in social media and this stupid upbringing that you probably had about being strong, independent, powerful woman and needing no man, but all of a sudden you want a man that is exactly the opposite of what you were told a man should be. So yeah, it is kind of a conundrum.
I'm the boss every day.
Moderately attractive people, I would say, right? And that's a big part of any kind of relationship. Yeah, sure, it's not the only thing that matters. And yes, looks will one day fade away. But yeah, especially in the beginning of a relationship, it's through the eyes. And these two seem to be kind of like on the same level, give or take. Yeah, you could be an asshole about this going on here, but and sure, this should be, in a normal ass world, these two should be somewhat compatible in terms of looks. Let's take a few more minutes and see if it's compatible in terms of what's inside.
Crispy southern.
When I look at it, I think of barf.
So?
What do you do?
Finance and accounting. What about yourself?
I work for a designer and I oversee all the Midwest stores.
How old are you?
Tell me you did not just say that.
If you don't mind me asking.
Old enough.
It is a perfectly legitimate question. I mean, if you're looking to build, and these two are not children anymore, she's definitely not, he's definitely not. But if this guy is looking to have a serious relationship, which she probably is, at least in theory, also looking for, yeah, that's kind of a big deal. How old are you, lady? Can you have children, or is that already not in the cards anymore?
Okay.
They call her the cat lady.
Yeah.
People say she's crazy just because she has a few dozen cats. But can anyone who loves animals that much really be crazy?
What age is, I don't even know. What age is this guy? She definitely looks as old as him, or maybe even older. Wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. But for a guy about his whatever age he is, he could probably get a 20-something-year-old, right? That is a lot more compatible if you're planning on starting a family. That's simply the way it works.
What's your problem?
Damn, I'm good.
He keeps talking, really.
To be fair, gambling is really unattractive. It's one of those things that, oh, I'm a professional. I don't care if you make the idea itself of gambling, and usually people that gamble are not doing it for profit. They end up losing a shit. Is actually more of a problem and addiction than anything else. But gambling is like one of those things that, yeah, it's... Lady, you're offended that someone asked you how old you are. That's kind of like the main thing you would be looking. It's not even about looks. It's about what you're looking to get out of the relationship. if you are of a certain age, your entire plan changes. If you're no longer capable of having children, or maybe a little bit too old to start a family, well, that's something to take into consideration. It's not rude to ask someone how old you are, especially if you're planning to date that. What's supposed to be like a mystery that after 5, 6, 10 dates, eventually, when is it okay to ask you? The second date, the third? Why even waste time? You're not children anymore, right? If you were young enough, you would readily say, yeah, I'm a 22-year-old woman. Yeah, that's how old I am. Yes, that's it. Obviously, that's not the case. So, yeah.
Are you sure about that?
Howdy.
Like that we maybe are not a
Yeah, so you're 34. You can still have children. I mean, it's not all women that at any age can have children. It's becoming more and more of an issue. Again, going back to what I actually do in terms of looking how the world is these days, fertility rate is dropping both for men and women. But it's usually the case that the woman is more of the baby factory, biologically speaking. And it's getting more. It's about conceiving in the first place. It's about being able to reach full term with that kid. You have no clue how those numbers stack up against you once you are this woman's age. She is already she's already an old woman for motherhood. She's old. She's a geriatric mother, medically speaking, at her age already. Nature wants you to start reproducing very soon. That's the way biology. It doesn't give a damn about your politically correct stances. This is what you have, and at that age, you're a lot more likely to have a lot more problems. So that's something the guy should keep in mind, especially if you are somewhat looking after yourself, and it could be that you could be like late 20s, early 30s, or mid 30s, depending on how genetically lucky you were. But the number doesn't lie. The number is still the same, and how that affects you as a potential mother is something that a partner should know. That's critical information in any serious relationship.
great match.
No, the clock is ticking from the moment in which you are what? Yeah, honestly, the clock is ticking from the moment you are born, right? It reaches a certain age. It used to be that women got married when they were 18 years old, even fucking younger. But 19, 20 years old, that was fairly common. Got married when I was, 22 years old, 23, give or take, somewhere like that. That was the most normal thing. This idea that a 35-year-old woman thinks that, no, lady, it was... It was at the very least 10 years ago that the clock was, hey, you really should, because if not, you end up left with what didn't just work. Men that want to have a family will probably start that sooner, and then later the guy thinks of starting a family, the less likely he is to actually care much about the entire idea of having a family and being a parent, a father, and so on. So you end up with the leftovers, and each passing year it is whatever didn't make it through that round. And that's unfortunately what it is. By the time you're 40, lady, good luck. By the time you're her age, I mean, she can still maybe get someone, but definitely with that personality, it's gonna be difficult. This guy, I mean, he's probably no catch based on his gambling and tigers, but hey, your clock was ticking a long while ago. On TV, everyone knows that she's a complete lunatic, unreliable, crazy person. Unreliable, why? Because it's a matter of basic decency and respect. Even if you're sitting with someone that, we are obviously not one for the other, that's okay. Just talk about whatever, finish my meal, go my way. But leaving someone stuck like that, I mean, you committed to the show. You committed to going there, exposing yourself in this way, which, whatever. But you commit to that. It's not about this guy. It's about how everyone sees you. You're now the crazy bitch from the first date. Who the hell what kind of lunatic, desperate simp would even consider marrying this crazy cat lady at this point? You see what I mean? But this is unfortunately how even if this is completely made up, which maybe it's not. It is so fucking weird. It's probably how people are these days. But there's a lot of women out there that think this is normal behavior. And that's why, yeah, Prince Charming doesn't... Even fucking Prince Charming is not... Have you seen Harry? Dude is fucking balding and looks like shit. And he's an actual prince. And it is these unrealistic expectations that these crazy women have, and it's not all of them, but it's that they crazy. It's like, you know how politics have shifted so much to the left that anything now is, it is the far right. What? I'm not pro little kindergarten kids with complete freaks. No, you're far right if you're somewhat reasonable. Well, the crazy expectation for these women has moved so much into the insanity that even a somewhat balanced person will have some unrealistic expectations of what the other is supposed to be. And yeah, it's true that men are not like that. We're different a little bit. Yeah, you should have your standards, but there's always going to be an age for everything, right? If you're a guy, I mean, especially in terms of a woman, but the more time that goes by, the less picky you get to be. If you expect to have any kind of relationship or family eventually as part of the plan. Guys, it's going to be all for now. See you next video. Take care.